Hi, my name is Michael Bean, and this is your lesson from myfreeactingclass.com for Wednesday, May the 19th. Just having a conversation with Anthony, who is a relatively new joiner of the lessons. We're happy to see him again today. And he started by asking the question, I can't remember exactly how you framed it, Anthony. He started by asking the question, basically like, how do I get good at this? That sometimes I hear myself, and it sounds scripted, and sometimes it sounds like me, and how do I get there? And so we started using the analogy of basketball because he plays basketball, but really, I think that this answer is valid regardless, of what it is you are already skilled at. And if you wanted to go back and look at the lesson from last year around talent, the whole lesson or several lessons even of like what is talent and how do I get more of it? And so just coming back to the idea that talent is unobserved practice. Talent is just the thing that you're already skilled at, that other people haven't seen you practice. So that when they watch, they're like, wow, you're so good at this thing. And so with the analogy of basketball, I asked Anthony, when was it that you first started practicing? Like, when did you first start trying to play basketball? And he said, 9. And I said, like when were you first able to just like really play a game and not really think about it? He said, about 10. So it was about a year of practice between, starting to play, and then or starting to practice a little bit, and then actually being able to play. And I think that that's there's almost a straight line there, at least for the students who I've seen who get really passionate about it, who basically just want to put in that practice or find a way to make the practice fun or enjoyable for them. It'll take about a year of focused practice. And it's not that none of the work they do in that year is good, it's that it's inconsistent. Back to that analogy of basketball, sometimes you toss the ball and it bounces off the rim and sometimes it goes in, especially when you're first starting, you don't necessarily know why it's one way or the other. And so either you get coaching, which is some of what we're doing right now, or you watch YouTube videos, or you read books where you're like, okay, what is it about shooting a basketball? How is it done? And you get some of those, the understanding of it. Or you just shoot hoops over and over and over again until it starts going in more. And you're like, well, I still don't understand why, but it's working more now. So why question a good thing? And you just get it in your body. And one way or the other, like there's no substitute for just getting into your body, because that's where it's got to live so you can just play. And so I would say that provided that you're doing really regular practice, it's about a year of regular practice. And to just quickly recap, another thing that I said to Anthony, but didn't think to record, is that often when people start something when they're quite young, they don't the voices, or the judges that they put on themselves are different. Right? If somebody starts first playing with a basketball when they're 6 or 7 or 9. There isn't usually an internalized pressure to make lots and lots and lots of the shots, their first 1,000 shots. But if you start when you're 15, or if you start when you're 22, or if you start when you're 43, then what happens is there's this voice inside you that kind of compares you to other people your age who may have been doing this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and says, well, it looks so easy when they do it. So I guess I don't measure up. And that's just about that reference point thing. That's just how brains operate, is that we think in terms of reference points. So if you can shift your reference point from the best actor possible to an actor who's been practicing about the same amount that I have, that's when you're going to have reference points that are reasonable, helpful. And you might just have to get tricky to destabilize that internalized judge voice, that says like, why can't you do this already? Like that's going to happen. So, okay. So thank you so much for your question, Anthony. I've been really appreciating the chance to go over some of these foundations again. And because I think for me as a teacher, every time I explain them in a new way or to somebody new, I find those ideas again, and I get to revisit them and I get to frame them in new language. And sometimes I really discover something for myself. And so my hope is that that's the same for students, or that's also true for students, is that hearing it again on a new day with new experience and new language helps land the idea in a new way. Because I don't know if you've noticed this about acting lessons in general, but probably, this lesson's going to be what, 20 minutes, half an hour, probably an hour from now, I'll ask you, oh, like, what really stuck from that lesson? And it'll be like one or two things. Yeah, and if there is a way for me to like really like make sure that it is that, like, pick the one or two things for you, I haven't figured it out, and I don't even think that's useful. This is something that we're exploring together. Yeah, and hearing the same thing in different words over and over and over again is one of the ways that you just, like I said, get it into your body. Like I find the why fascinating. But if you want to be an actor, the why is somewhat useful. Mostly what's going to be useful is just being able to shoot hoops. So speaking of which, Candy's going to help me out with the demo today, and anybody else who wants to be part of the demo, like Dia, if you're set up to practice, or Anthony, if you got your phone set up, would be really happy to practice with you as well. But I want to talk about the power of eye contact and stillness. Today I want to talk about eye contact and stillness. We're going to use one of the practice scenes for May. I realized as I was thinking about today's lesson, oh, right, with this new format where I've said, here are the scripts for this month, and we've already gone over them, I can use those to practice specific skills. So today, Candy is going to be right-hand man. Candy's going to play a thug for us. And it's perfect because, Candy is somebody who doesn't, I think, self-identify as particularly like, tough or violent or thuggish. And so let me show you Candy. Here she is. Candy Sparks. And so, Candy, let's quickly read the right-hand man part from the script. I'll read the stage direction and the other lines. Let me just pull it up for you right here. So, oh, there it is. Good. So, Candy, can you see that okay? Third class, Terrence's corridor day. Oswald is propelled through the door into the room. Right-hand man appears, having pushed him.
Is it okay if I don't say say but instead? Sorry, that's just how I do.
Of course, okay. Yeah. But just
okay.
don't replace it with something softer. Just cut it. Just say
okay.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Okay. Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going. Terrence, steel-eyed gangster, sits in the bathroom stall, which serves as a makeshift office. Cushions on the throne, and abacus on the wall. He's painting his nails with polish.
Man of the hour, boss.
No need to push right hand. So I was forcibly propelled in front of Terrence.
I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Great. And those are all of your lines. All right. So let's just go over your lines again. Your first is, get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right. I'm going.
Man of the hour, boss.
No need to push right hand.
I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Right. And so, Candy, let's just do a quick take of the scene. Just you saying the lines. And then we'll layer it up from there, right? So we're going to start with just the lines. Then we're going to add the physicality, and then we'll spend a little bit of time, on the specific technique that I wanted to go over today. And I'll, if you need the line, especially while we're just practicing.
I don't remember them already. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. This is
get in there.
Exactly. It's get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
I say, all right, I'm going. You say to your boss.
Man of the hour, boss.
No need to push right hand.
I'm gonna do. Sorry. I'm gonna do a lot worse
if you don't shut it.
I'm gonna do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Great. And lose the pencil in the notebook because you're going to need your hands.
Yes.
Thank you for being my demo. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we'll just start with the lines. And you don't have to do anything other than say them. We're going to build it up from scratch. Okay. Stand by. And if your voice is like scratchy or crackly, honestly, they'll just make you sound kind of tougher. Like so.
Okay. I was like, I can grab some water. But
No, truly, don't worry about it. As long as you're not in danger of a coughing fit, like being a little scratchy is just going to make you sound tough. Stand by and action. Just
get in there. Get in there.
He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Now, what I just want to point out for everybody watching, and Candy is basically like she is doing the scary thing here, which is like she's shooting and missing, so that I can say give her feedback, on like how to get it in the basket more, and just so that everybody knows, she's not pretending that that's vulnerable. Like that's just really vulnerable. That's a scary thing for absolutely anybody. Like remember that the scariest thing for most humans, most times, is like, what if I do something vulnerable and other people judge me? And when you are stepping into an environment where you're an actor, you literally are going in and being vulnerable on purpose so other people can judge you and tell you how to do it different. This is a very, very vulnerable place to be. And so we're appreciating I just want to appreciate that Candy is doing it, and also point out that like she may look calm, but like inside there's all sorts of like going on. And right now that's just coming out as this little like this, like she made this like teeny little face, when she forgot her line for a second, and that's the part that's the thing ultimately that would break a scene. If there's a pause, as long as she stays in the scene, potentially we're like, ooh, what's going on? Ooh, yeah, subtext, interesting. It's only if there's a moment of her going like, oh no, and we see the actor panic instead of the character sort of put everything out onto that other person, that the scene breaks. So I would encourage you, Candy, as we practice, like if you need to call for a line, instead of, it's not about, thank you so much for playing with me, because most people do think it's about this. It's about like, don't feel anything. And it's truly not about that, because we want you to feel what you're actually feeling. Whatever you're actually feeling is much more interesting than what you think the character should be feeling. Now, eventually we'll start adjusting the circumstances so that you actually feel something different than you're feeling. But for the moment, using whatever you're actually feeling, but making it all my fault and putting it out on me, that's the way to take what's going on, instead of going like, oh no, I'm getting it wrong, to be like, damn you, Michael Biehn. Right? Like just take the feeling, put it out on me, and afterwards we can be like, you can be like, oh my God, are we okay? And I'll be like, of course we are. But while you're doing the acting, just see if you can keep that outward focus, because it's going to be really tempting to switch to inward focus. Does that make sense, Candy?
Yeah.
Right. So the line again is, get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting. Action.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going. The line is, man of the hour, boss.
The man of the hour, boss.
Then to push, right hand. The line is, I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Great. And you see how she got all the way through it? And I fed her the lines, and she did not grimace, or do anything. Like she looked, if anything, like she was kind of solid, maybe kind of like frustrated with me, and good. That's exactly what we want. Like take the feeling, put it outward focus. That's exactly what's going to be useful here in the scene. Right. So if there's frustration, make it my fault. And then after we're completely done, then we can be like, oh my God, the feels. So get your ass in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting. Man of the hour, boss. I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it. Take it from the top, stand by, and action.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going.
Man of the hour, boss.
No need to push, right hand.
I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Cut. Good. And so even that, where she stumbled on the word a little bit, which people really do when they talk. That's a thing people really do when they talk, and because she didn't stop and go, oh God, oh no, I started to say keep and then I said shut, because you said like, it's his fault. It's my fault for messing up her line. It can read as the character, and by the time you're a couple of lines later in the scene, nobody will remember except you. On the inside, you'll still be like, ah, but truly everybody else will have forgotten because that little micro stumble can read it in character. And I've seen somebody suppressing a sneeze be interpreted, by audiences, or by decision makers as like deep subtext, where it's just like, here's what I've got to say to you. And then after it's like, oh no, I just really had to sneeze. Yeah, right. And so now let's add the physicality, right? So to the best of your ability, start just in the corner of your camera. So start that little step back, just back a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Good. And then off to the side, right? So just like the back corner of your camera. Yep. So you're still on camera. Yep. And a little bit to your right, a little bit to your right, a little bit to your right. Good. There you go. You're going to enter from there. And then you're going to walk into your mark. And you've got two eye lines. You've got the me, who you're talking to the most, and then your boss. Your boss is going to be on the opposite side of the camera. Right. So for everybody else, you pick two eye lines. You have one on one side of the camera, and the other on the opposite side of the camera. Right. So they should not be that far apart. One should be just to the right of the camera, or if you can see my face, then use my face for the guy you're talking to the most. And then just the other side of the camera, right? So just to the left of the camera, not to your left, but to the left of the camera, right? So if it's a phone or something, then just the left-hand side of the camera of the phone case, right? That's your right side. Yeah, and then there you go, right? Okay, and I don't know if it's mirrored or anything, but that's what I mean. Yes. Okay, good. So, but that side of the phone case. So look at me, and then look at the boss. No, okay. I want there. That's the. So no, I need your eyelines to be closer to camera. Right. So can you see me? Can you actually see me, or are you just having to look?
I can't. I'm seeing myself. Okay. I think I'm spotlighted. So.
Oh yes, you are spotlighted. Okay, great. So use your one side of your phone case. For the person who you're talking to, which I think should be the right side because that's the side you're entering on. Right. So that's the person you're talking to the most, and then boss is just going to be the left side of your phone case. Yeah, just that much. That's the distance, right? So your eyes are still super close to camera, but they go from one side of our screen to the other side of our screen. Little bit further left for that second eye line because it looks like you're looking right to camera. Good. Have you got a physical object in the room you can look at that's right about there?
Yeah, the record button, I believe.
Perfect. Yeah, I use the record button all the time. Excellent.
The ring light, I think, is sort of.
Perfect. Yeah, that's ideal. Okay, good. Good discovery. So we're just walking through the physicality. We're still not putting any pressure on the acting yet. You walk in from there. Saying while saying the line to the green light, get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
And then you walk in, and you say to the boss on the other side of the camera. You walk in closer to camera, into your medium close up, and you say to the boss on the other side of the camera to the record button. Man of the hour, boss.
Man of the hour, boss.
Good. And and because you're talking to your boss, you can even indicate the guy beside you.
Man of the hour, boss.
Exactly. And then you're going to grab him. And do you remember about this? You're going to grab your own hand and just push him over to where your boss is. Yep. Good. And the more resistance you give yourself, you got to be closer to camera because otherwise we see that you're not holding anything. There you go. And just right.
Man of the hour. What?
And you're gonna. I'm gonna say no need to push, and then you're gonna say you're gonna do this and give me. I'm gonna do a lot worse.
Okay. I'm gonna do a lot worse if you don't get in. If you don't shut it.
Great. It's okay. We're practicing. We're adding a new layer, and so it starts to go out of your head. Okay. Do it one more time and just commit to it. Right now, I'm seeing how uncomfortable you are, or how unfamiliar it is to pull your own hand around.
Do I hold him the very beginning?
Yeah, I think probably holding on to him right from the very beginning. And it's just that's the moment where he's going to resist you and you're going to thrust him in front of your boss. Yeah.
Is he walking past my face? Probably.
Never walking past your face. Where is he walking to? Where's the boss? The record button, exactly,
Okay.
right? All the eye lines are close to camera, and you're going to keep all the business down below. So let me highlight myself for a moment. The mistake that you're making is that you're putting some of the action up here, which means that you're not going to be able to fake it. You got to keep it down to waist level as much as possible, so that you've just got him down by the wrist, and you're like, come on, And what I'm going to suggest, and really, as long as you totally commit to it, it doesn't actually matter exactly what line it happens on. I'm going to give you a suggestion, but it is just an arbitrary suggestion. Like, we could probably try it 6 ways and you'd actually find the way that works the best for you. But, we're in the lesson, so we're moving a little faster than you might otherwise. The line is, I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it. And I'm going to suggest that, like, he says no need to push, which means that you've got to start pushing him before he saws that. So you're going to start pushing. He's not moving yet. And you say to the green light, I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it. And you're going to shut him
a lot
over.
worse if you don't shut it.
Exactly. And just make sure.
Am I too high still?
And make sure that you shift that eye line, off to the boss, as you do that. Good. So now so you can see, everybody, that we're practicing eye lines and physicality. We started with the words, and now we're practicing the eye lines of physicality. We're still not really doing the acting yet. We're just getting the shape of the scene. Good. Go to the back corner. Yeah. Your first line is, get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting. Stand by. Action.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going. Say to the boss, no, don't. He's not struggling yet. He's not struggling yet. He's not struggling yet. That's okay. I'm not scolding you. I'm just reminding you. I'm just trying to get through to your animal body, which is like, ah! And like, you're doing a great job of like trying to stay focused. We're just trying to like settle you and remind you to the best of my ability. Good. So he doesn't struggle until the very end, because otherwise you're going to end up doing the whole scene like, because otherwise she's going to end up doing the whole scene like this, and then we're going to think like, is she on a boat? Is she like trying to like wrestle with like what's going on? You're going to lose all the power in the scene, right? What we want us to believe is that you're either a lot stronger than him, or that he's scared enough of you that he might struggle, but not very much.
Okay.
Okay. Stand by and action.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going. Say to the record button.
Man
of the hour, boss.
Man of the hour, boss.
You have no need to push right hand. And so, so now say man of the hour, boss, and start pulling him over there, and he's resisting. Good. So say the line to your boss. Don't wiggle around yet. Just say the line to your boss.
Man of the hour, boss.
And start pushing him. No need to push right hand.
I'm going to push a lot harder if you don't shut it.
Good. Say it like you mean it. I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Good. Now right there, we saw one of Candy's like super mean judges beat her up for a second, and like, this is why she's like so brave being our demo model, because, you can all see that moment, where instead of being like, oh, I'm publicly with other people looking at me doing a thing that is like vulnerable for anybody anyway, and yeah, I didn't remember the words exactly right, but instead there's this moment of like, damn it, this is so easy, why can't I remember? Oh, stupid. Is that likely to help her remember the next time? No, because what's happening is she's rehearsing in a certain amount of like crumpling, inward focus, tension, self-judgment, like, oh, I hate this experience, instead of just shooting and missing and being like, cool, I'm gonna shoot again, which is that like sort of inner 9-year-old that we want to try and channel, right? And I'm taking the focus off Candy so that she can have a moment to like reflect on that experience without everybody looking at her, and then we'll just try again. Good, let's go through that physicality again. Stand by and action.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going.
Man of the hour, boss.
Just don't need to push right hand.
I'm going to do a lot worse if you don't shut it.
Great. And that's the scene. Like, you do that, and we're like, okay, we believe, that you are threatening, that you believe your own threat. Now, so the next step, and if we go back to some of the story questions here, just for everybody else, so there's a little visual to go with the thing that I'm talking about, right? Circumstances, style, story, relationship, your strong feeling, opinion about yourself, about the other people, how they change from beginning to end. What do you want the other person to do or feel? Now, remember that anybody can download this PDF that we're looking at right now on myfreeactingclass.com by just going to the practice scenes. It's on the Tuesday. Click the little blue link that says practice scenes. It'll give you this PDF. So your strong feeling or opinion about the guy, who you're pushing around is pretty clear right now. But just so I know how you're thinking about it, Candy, if you had to put words to it, what is it?
Like the way I'm feeling towards the
Yeah,
person?
it's a strong feeling or opinion about the guy you're pushing around.
Well, if I'm a thug myself, I was like, but I guess I don't see myself that way. So
Yeah, you don't see yourself that way. So, no, you're just Candy, but and ideally we want to find somebody who, like, even you would, like, feel this way. But what's that strong feeling or opinion? He's a criminal.
Like a snitch or
he's a snitch. Something. Great. Yeah, he's a snitch. Great. And so that's your opinion about him. He's a snitch, and we can see that it's like loaded with emotion. And so even Candy feels that way about some people. I don't know, people who run oil companies. Or I don't know, like people who do terrible things to other people, and then blog about it. Whatever it is that you're like, oh my gosh, those people. And then if we had to put words to what you want this snitch to do or feel, how do you want them to feel? Or how do you want them to feel?
Like an outsider, a traitor.
An outsider, a traitor, exactly. And if they know they're an outsider or a traitor, which is like intellectual, what will they feel? Can you use a feeling word for me?
Probably a little guilty.
Guilty. And so instead of a little guilty, make this person feel so guilty, right? And so if you, Candy, were trying to make somebody else feel guilty, would that look like you're a terrible person, or you suck, or something else? Like what words would you use if you really actually believed that somebody deserved to feel guilty and you wanted to land it on them?
So you're telling me you're okay with this right now? That's kind of long, but
good. Yeah, good. And so it's simple. It's like, this is just try. Sorry, what was that?
You're okay with that?
You're okay with that? Yeah, it's a question, and so it's not going to land as strongly as a statement. Try, this is not okay.
This is not okay.
Good. If that's a 2, give me a 4.
This is not okay.
Good. Now this is the lesson that I wanted for today, was stillness and eye contact. So lately I've been thinking about anger as though there's a spectrum with power on one side and anger on the other. So the more angry you are, the less powerful you are likely to be. Right? Because somebody who's angry is usually like, no, I've got a thing that's bigger than me to fight against. And somebody who's powerful might be loud, they might be aggressive, but it's a different kind of energy. And so let's play with what it's like if you were the powerful person in the scene. One of the reasons that those early takes worked really well, just for everybody else who's watching, is they had lots of stillness and eye contact in them because she wasn't thinking about it. Eye contact and stillness both read as power on camera. One of the mistakes here would be if Candy starts going, well, now I've got to pretend to be a thug and I got to think of myself as a thug. Well, she was already doing it. You saw, like, in the practice, it wasn't perfectly consistent, but we got the character just fine. And then now that she's like, okay, cool, now I've got the foundation, now I get to be a thug. Now she's going to overthink it and try and be that instead of just trusting it can come through. So I didn't plan it this way, but this practice, because Candy had so much stillness and eye contact in her, already gives you the point that I wanted to give. So if we want a little bit more of that, then I think we just bring in that objective. So just say it like it's true, like you're teaching this person's elementary school class. and this kid is just like bad beating up another kid, right? Like there's a kid who's about to be expelled, or this is a kid who's done this for the 18th time. It's like this is a it's not like this is not a compassionate like I'm just going to reach out to you from a place of gentleness. It's like, oh no, you need firm discipline and boundaries, and right now you are done, right? So look at this kid and say, this is not okay.
This is not okay.
Good. And that's where we're going to find it, even though that seems nonsensical for the thug. As far as the thug, as far as your character goes, you are the one who's just enforcing the boundaries of appropriate behavior. Start in the corner. Start in the corner.
Oh.
Go back to your first mark. Yeah. So first mark for everybody else, like the marks are what you would have on set to show you where you stand. First mark is where you start, and second mark is where you're stepping into. So, use that language without explaining it for everybody else. Thanks for just rolling with it, Candy. Yeah, and then we go back to the scene. And so just keep looking, at this kid who needs the firm boundaries. Stand by, and action.
Get in there. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right, I'm going.
Man of the hour, boss.
You don't need to push, right hand.
I'm gonna do a lot worse if you don't shut it.